Hey guys, welcome to On the Mind. This week there's just two of us. I'm Austin,
I'm Bryce.
and we are going to be covering the second kind of presidential debate. Duncan's not here this week, so it's just going to be Bryce and I. Uh, don't really remember all the questions.
Shout
However,
out
we
to
have
Duncan. We love you.
yeah, Duncan. I'm sure you were missing out on a lot here because this debate was so interesting. All the nuance in the world. Go ahead. Let's just go ahead and start off by we're gonna read off all the questions, give a brief overview of what we thought the responses were like.
Oh, do we want to start the first question?
Actually, let's talk about the moderators. I feel like this Anderson Cooper and
Martha Radatz.
they did a
Radatat.
pretty decent job.
Yeah, I thought they were hilarious. When both candidates were speaking over Martha Radatz when she was trying to let Donald Trump give sort of like a rebuttal. She waited. She kept trying to get their attention. They just wouldn't give it to her. And then they finally stopped. And she said, "Thank you, guys." And then everybody laughed. And the camera cut to Martha. And she started laughing. And it was just a good bit of fun.
I didn't like how Anderson Cooper handled things in the beginning.
Sure, he was a bit Lester Holt-esque.
Yeah, and even though he deserved it, they were definitely focused firing on Trump a little more.
Yeah, I'll agree. They did give Hillary a bit more time.
Yeah, quite a bit more.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because the candidates took as much time as they wanted. They just hounded Trump a little bit more about it.
That's true. And he pointed that out.
Yep.
Repeatedly, if I remember correctly.
Early on, he did claim that the debate was rigged and that they were all teaming up on him 3 against 1, which at that point was completely unfair in my opinion.
Well, you got to cover your bases.
Sure. His microphone wasn't working.
You got to cover your bases before you strike out. All right, well, let's just head into the questions, I think. What was the first one?
The first one was about how a lot of students, as per their homework, have to watch the debates and maybe write a report or whatever on it. The question was, are the two candidates setting a good example for today's youth?
Okay. Ooh, okay.
Neither said yes or no.
Fair to point out. The reason that I'm so stressed out about this is the election is less than a month away, and I can't count on my hand how many solid policies the candidates have between them.
Yeah. Oh.
I should be able to tell you off the top of my head what they're representing, and I can't.
Now, Hillary on her website does have
Her
policies.
public policies.
Yeah. But they are laid out
Her
in
public positions.
a good. I don't know. Are you talking about the?
Oh, yes,
emails?
I am. Yes, I am. We'll get that in the next episode. But I just wanted to touch on that. That really ticked me off.
Yeah, I can't believe even Donald didn't really press. Oh no, he did. My bad. He did a little bit
A little bit, but
towards the end.
oh, that was something else I forgot to mention. I can't believe I did. He mentioned Bernie a lot.
Yeah, keep the people's candidate out of your mouth, Donald. You have no business speaking that name. Neither of you.
To be fair, I don't think that Clinton said his name.
No, I mean, I'm sure in private she makes fun of him all the time, but
All right. It's like the devil, like he can't say Christ's name.
yeah. That's another thing. Donald did actually call her the devil
I know. Yeah.
later on.
I mean, there's no beating around the bush. That was his exact quote. And okay.
But who are we here? Trump and Clinton. Let's get back to the question. So the question was, the question was in regards to the debate, not their policies, and more or less talked about their policies. The first debate, excuse me. So, which they argued and bickered a lot, and they did that again in this debate. Clinton's answers were about how her policies want to unite people, how her work in inner cities and with African American youth and so forth, how she wants to bring, and then she attacked her opponent, Trump, who wants to send undocumented immigrants back to whichever country they hail from, and then impose a temporary ban on Muslims. Which later,
Nope, we'll get to it.
Okay,
We'll get to it.
You're right. My bad. Excuse me.
It's okay. I'm pretty amped to talk about that too. I don't really remember what Trump said. I'm sure it was along the lines of ISIS.
China.
I will give him
ISIS,
this. He did not say
wrong.
China as much as I thought he would. I lost a bet. So Trump, I think, again talked about murder rates rising, inner city violence, how bad the blacks had it.
Oh, yeah, he said that he went back and fact-checked or whatever, the stop and frisk thing, which they talked about in the first debate, which we did fact-check, and Clinton was correct, Trump was wrong, and that means that his fact-checking was wrong, which is actually hilarious.
Is it surprising, though?
Yeah, he'll kind of, as Hillary stated several times, he lives in his own separate reality where anything he says is true. And online polls are scientific. Should we just move on to the second question?
Yeah, let's please.
All right, this one's to Donald Trump. I'll just read it word for word as it was said. We received a lot of questions online, Mr. Trump, about the tape that was released on Friday, as you can imagine. You called what you said locker room banter. You describing kissing women without consent, grabbing their genitals. That is sexual assault. You brag that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
That was Anderson Cooper, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. He was pretty upset.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you should be. And, I mean, a lot of Republicans were not upset, but
come on.
okay, a lot were, but I mean, many are arguing that wasn't sexual assault, which it absolutely is. You want to comment? You had a name even.
Oh, who was it? Oh, Jeff Sessions, the senator. I don't remember where he hails from. He said that was a reach, and definitely sexual assault is exactly what was described there. I didn't listen to the tape, to be fair. I just don't think I want to more than anything. I'm just so sick of this election that might push me over the edge.
It's incredibly creepy. It's him speaking with Billy Bush, who is a reporter, and
he said this to a reporter?
Yeah, he's actually more of a friend. Billy Bush is. It's kind of a creepy bromance. They talked about it on John Oliver.
Putin.
What's that?
Kind of like him and Putin.
Yeah, except to where they meet regularly and are really close, and it's just, I don't know, some sort of creepy love thing.
Just like Putin.
It is ironic that the time that he would want at least, Donald Trump finally did get a working microphone. They made that joke on SNL. I can't take credit for that.
Okay. That's fair. I didn't watch that, so I wouldn't have known. Thanks for telling me. There were quite a few responses to this. McCain, most notably, dropped his support. I think that's about time. I'm really disappointed that he endorsed him at all. Paul Ryan didn't. Shocker. I can't stand that tool.
Mike Pence says that he never even considered dropping out of the ticket or not supporting Donald Trump.
A lot of Republicans want him to take over the ticket, if I remember correctly. I can't name names. I don't remember. Yeah. I think Mark Kirk was one of them, the senator from Illinois, which I'm pretty happy about, actually, because we're from Illinois, if we haven't made that clear at this point. But something else I wanted to bring up, and I hate to say it, but I finally agree with Ben Carson on something wholeheartedly, is how long was this held to have maximum effect against Trump? I'm sure that the News Corps had this far before now. And this couldn't have been a worse time for Trump to have this kind of fiasco on his hands a month before election. And this will have drastic effects on the Republican ticket all the way down.
I'm going to disagree a little bit there. We're in a state of being landlocked on a candidate. Trump has made it clear that if he were to just go out on the street and shoot somebody in the head, his followers would still support him. Before we started recording today, I went ahead and did a quick little Facebook search of all my friends on Facebook whom I know support Donald Trump, and it seems that absolutely none of them have stopped loving him. Some seem to even be supporting him harder, attacking Clinton supporters more. Let me say, the thing I hear most is name one thing that Donald Trump said that is worse than what Bill Clinton did. Now, first off, Bill Clinton's not on the ticket. He's not running for president. He's not running for anything. All right, he's just there.
I don't think he can even run anymore.
No, he can't. I mean,
like
he can
physically.
run for other things.
I saw him on camera a few times, and he had like a death glare on. He's looking a little rough.
Yeah, he hasn't aged. I mean, he's aged like a president. What
fair.
can you say? So, anyway, so that's not a valid argument at all. Hillary Clinton is running for president, and she didn't do anything wrong. Now, furthermore,
whoa,
she's done a lot wrong, but she hasn't sexually assaulted or harassed women.
That we know of.
That we know. Okay, so I seriously doubt. Furthermore, if she were even in a locker room, she would not be partaking in this locker room banter. Also, Trump said he did these things. He said that he tried to have sex with a married woman.
It's weird that he would say that.
Yeah, I mean,
Why
it wasn't
would he even
knowing she was married, tried to have sex with her. He said that she wanted to go furniture shopping. He took her furniture shopping, and he said, quote, "I moved on her like a bee, dash, 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 dash." I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Come on.
Is that not a good censoring? Should I?
No, that's fair enough. You know what? We'll take it. Let's just avoid it in the future.
All right. I was quoting him. So, anywho, moving on. He's not joking. He said he actually did this. I mean, yeah, you could say it was. I guess you could say it was joking about him actually doing this. But let's just. I don't know. Do you have anything else to say? Should we move on?
Let's just move on. We can stay on that all night.
I'm used to you stopping me.
Trust me when I say I'm just so sick of this election.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Duncan's not here. We have a lot more rant time than usual.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is. I'm not used to this. I don't think either. Especially you.
Right. I don't know. I'm sure Duncan's gonna be listening to this.
Yeah.
He's going to say, well, is that how you really feel?
Another shout out to Duncan. The ghost, may he rest in peace. Question 3 for Jeff from Ohio, who asked on Facebook, Trump says the campaign has changed him. When did that happen? So, Mr. Trump, let me add to that. When you walked off that bus at 59, were you a different man, or did that behavior continue until just recently? I mean, we both agree that he hasn't changed a bit. He said that his campaign, he actually admitted to being a politician. He said that he never thought that those words would come out of his mouth, being a politician.
How did he answer that?
What's that?
How did he answer the question?
He said that being on his campaign changed him. Meeting many people, talking with people, learning about what this country needs, that has changed him.
Okay. I mean, didn't he travel around the country before meeting people?
Yes.
It was a successful, but okay. You know what? Let's just. Is there a Hillary question?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me.
We'll just edit out this little weird sound.
Okay. Sorry.
It's fine.
Okay, it was at this point, I believe, that Trump went on a little rampage and said, why aren't you bothering her about the emails? And they're like, well, we're about to. Just hold on. They're like, why aren't you bothering her about the emails? They're like, hold on. We're trying to tell you. We're about to ask her a question about the emails. Then they said, and Secretary Clinton, I do want to follow up on emails. You said your handling of your emails was a mistake. You disagreed with the FBI Director James Comey, calling your handling of classified information, quote, extremely careless. The FBI said that there are 110 classified emails that were exchanged, 8 of which were top secret, and the possible hostile actors did gain access to those emails. You don't call that extremely careless?
Oh, she just threw out the same apology she usually does and deflected, if I remember right.
Yes. I mean, I think she did call her actions careless.
Well, yeah, she's like, look, it was extremely careless, and if I could do it over again, she's used that before, if I might add.
I mean,
I would act differently. It's just like,
what's she gonna do? Give us a different story, though?
I'm just saying that apology was weak the first time she said it.
Mm-hmm.
It's still weak now.
Granted, okay, she mentioned later on something about Trump not being president, and then he said, if I were, you'd be in jail. She didn't technically do anything illegal.
I'd have to look them up. I know there are cases where mishandling of classified information has led to jail time.
Yes, correct. But the year-long investigation found that nobody gained, no hostile actors gained access to this information
that they know about.
As
a public official, it was illegal to have a private server, I'm pretty sure, to have that information stored on a private server.
I don't know about that. I mean, from what I understand, it's not. I'm
pretty sure.
Maybe we should talk about this on a different episode.
Okay, that's fine.
Especially since we're kind of unprepared for this.
That's fair.
However, it does need to be said that the FBI investigation, that was a year long, said that she was all good. There's no need for her to be arrested, to be jailed, anything like that.
Well, they recommended no charges due to insufficient evidence. However, they did repeatedly say it was careless. It wasn't the right thing to do. She handled it poorly. Is that really what you want as a president? Semantics.
You're right. And then now here we get into the everybody makes mistakes, and then I'm defending a candidate I don't even want as president. So I guess we should really just move on. There are a lot of questions anyway. The Affordable Care Act, known as Obamacare, it is not affordable. Premiums have gone up, deductibles have gone up, copays have gone up, prescriptions have gone up, and the coverage has gone down. What will you do to bring the costs down to make coverage better?
You know, this is actually one of the few points that Trump even looked remotely strong, and I agreed with him on a few things. He was talking about how it's crazy, these laws that won't allow competition. And that's a word that you'll hear Duncan just say until his voice runs hoarse. That's the basis of capitalism. You need competition to make prices go down. That's where the downward pressure comes from. And talking to my boss, I won't name him, but he was talking about how he, as an insurance agent for health insurance, he was watching as premiums were going up, as copays were going up, and he was talking directly to me about how I had to pay more in the long run, and if I didn't want it, it'd be cheaper for me to just pay the fee, honestly, if I wasn't going to use it, and I haven't yet. I'm lucky that I haven't had to. However, if I just paid the fee, I could be putting that money somewhere else that I would be saving. And I'll get off that. Trump pointed out that it's crazy that you had to register in each state, I think it was, that these state lines were decreasing competition. You should be able to buy a license or something for each state. I don't know how to fix that exactly. It is insane that there are statewide monopolies and they end at the border, but that state is beholden to whichever company has the most influence in it.
Hillary Clinton said that Obamacare, it has done good things, but it's also introduced a lot of bad. She doesn't want to repeal and replace. She wants to just fix it. Just lift up the bad things to make them good things, and then the good things to make them great things. I'll say Trump had a good Republican answer, and Clinton had a good progressive liberal answer. Well,
I wouldn't say progressive.
no?
I would not say progressive.
I mean, she talked about...
Progressive would have been single payer, if we're going to be honest. And Trump slammed single payer, looking at Canada, and Hillary ran away from single payer as fast as she could.
She did talk a little bit about the divide between rich and poor, and how poor people generally don't have access, and also people who cannot work, handicapped people, which, you know, as a progressive socialist-ish person, I don't know, that kind of rang true a bit with me.
It felt like she was pandering to me. I understand.
That's kind of been her whole career.
Yeah, that's fair.
She's not a progressive. She's been pretending to be a
A progressive who gets things done. Like derailing campaigns that run against me. Anyway, let's
did
just
get
move
it
to the
done.
next question.
She got it done.
Even if she can't do it foreignly, she can get the job done domestically.
Okay. This is directly to Secretary Clinton. Let me follow up with you. Your husband called Obamacare the craziest thing in the world, saying that small business owners are getting killed as premiums double, coverage is cut in half. Was he mistaken, or was his mistake simply telling the truth? Should we just move on? just keep...
I mean, did she have a substantial answer, or did she just...
I don't think so. Nothing that...
I don't remember.
I can really remember. All right. Mr. Trump, you have said that you want to end Obamacare. You've also said that you want to make coverage accessible for people with pre-existing conditions. How do you force insurance companies to do that if you are no longer mandating that everybody has insurance? What does that mean?
Again, I don't really remember.
I don't think he had much of an answer.
I remember that around this point they started arguing quite a bit.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, I could be wrong, but I just felt like they were the entire debate.
Mm-hmm. I think that might be the part where they were originally going to start with. They were originally
you
going to
go
ask
first.
Yeah,
no, you go
Clinton.
first.
They're originally going to ask Trump. I don't know. Trump said, "No, you go ahead. I'll be ladies first. I'm a gentleman." And everybody laughed, and he said, "I'm a gentleman." Everybody laughed.
Just give you a friendly squeeze. Oh boy, that was too far, Austyn. But yeah,
you didn't say the word.
You're right. You're right.
It's okay as long as you don't say the P word. Well, moving on. There are 3.3 million Muslims in the United States. I'm one of them. Oh yeah.
Oh, this is the one you wanted to talk about.
I couldn't believe that she's still on the fence as a Muslim American. Like, she might be the only Muslim.
Complete the question.
Okay. You mentioned working with Muslim nations, but with this Islamophobia on the rise, how will you help people like me deal with the consequences of being labeled as a threat to the country after the election is over?
And his actions have led to a lot of Islamophobia.
Yeah, he's like the main cause in this cause and effect.
And total ban of Muslims entering the country under a Donald Trump presidency, if I remember the exact quote. And he said, "Look, I hate that this is happening. I wish I could do something about it," if I remember right.
Yeah. I don't know. He's definitely seemed incredibly insincere. The question directly to Trump was, in December you said this: Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country representatives can figure out what the hell is going on. We have no choice. We have no choice. Your running mate said this week that the Muslim ban is no longer your possession. Is that correct? And if it is, was a mistake to have a religious test? Oh, yeah. He said that him and... Oh, no, that was on the Syria thing. He didn't want
He's
religious
changed.
tests.
He said at first that he would consider it. I know at one point he was considering a religious test, is I think what he said. He's backed away from that considerably, kind of like he backed away from the wall. It wasn't really noticeable unless you were paying attention.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I mean, we can move on.
Yeah. When we say let's move on, really what we're saying is that part was awful. And you can hear that being said quite a bit.
What we're saying is they didn't add much. They didn't say anything substantial with substance.
Trump mentioned ISIS a lot. And Hillary Clinton, she just kept saying how awful Trump was, and he did the same to Clinton. It really was just like that.
All right, Secretary Clinton, let me ask you about that, because you have asked for an increase from accepting 10,000 to 65,000 Syrian refugees. We know you want tougher vetting. That's not a perfect system. So why take the risk of having those refugees coming into the country? Well, she didn't say a very substantial answer. It was just kind of airy and
that's
vacant.
Right. Trump was talking about how she wanted to increase it 550%.
Yes.
That's right. I remember that. From 10,000 to 65,000. I don't know the exact numbers of European countries taking in refugees. I'm pretty sure Germany's in the lead right now, as if it's a game, Austyn. Jeez. It's an awful situation, one that we helped create, honestly. And honestly, it is partially, if not wholly, her and Obama's fault for intervening in this civil war, helping armed rebels try to overthrow a government. It's just, this whole situation could have been avoided.
Yeah, it's a position that we're in quite often, but never to the extent to where so many innocent people die, and never to an extent to where there are so many refugees without a place to go. And Austyn and I's stance on refugees is this: if you have the ability to help somebody in need, say, I don't know, millions of dying children who are starving, who have no shelter, if you have the power to help those people and you don't, you're kind of a bad person.
Yeah, definitely. I don't remember who it was exactly. I know it was a Republican that said, it was Christie, I think, that he would consider a 5-year-old Muslim child a threat and wouldn't allow them into the country.
Yeah, now, that is a good point. Like, there is a chance that an ISIS member or some terrorist of some kind could be one of the refugees, somebody who doesn't like us and wants to attack our country.
But come on, a kid.
Yeah, exactly. And also, we should do this with the utmost care and caution.
We're not looking to just open the gates to everybody and anybody that wants in. We just want to help people that are going to die.
Yeah.
If we don't.
Yes. And then also, now this has been kind of a hot topic. I mean, John Oliver is talking a bit about Guantanamo Bay, and this is relevant. There are innocent people released from Guantanamo Bay who were there for several years and were tortured. And once they got out, after being investigated and found innocent of all charges, they decided, you know what? We're going to go ahead and fight America now because they've imprisoned us and tortured us for no reason. And it was, one study found 6% and one study found 20%. And a lot of people say that those percentages are inflated, but they're not zero. That's what John Oliver said. They aren't zero. That's a good point. So what I'm saying is, if we continue to add to the destruction and carnage of Syria, and we don't help these innocent, dying, starving people, especially children, they might just come and hate us and possibly attack us.
And don't forget that this is how radicals are created. You drop bombs on them and their children's heads, and then you do absolutely nothing to help assuage their pain, to wipe away the guilt. You don't try to help at all. You're just killing kids. And the money that we spent on these drones to kill these kids, and it's just ridiculous. It's the situation is such a cluster of
Cluster pluck.
yeah.
Let's move on. This has gotten dark and sad and a little depressing. And we're not moving on to anything necessarily cheery and happy, but WikiLeaks and taxes is the name of this section of the debate. This question is to Secretary Clinton. It says, this question involves WikiLeaks' release of reported excerpts of Secretary Clinton's paid speeches, which she has refused to release, and one line in particular in which you, Secretary Clinton, reportedly say you need both a public and a private position on certain issues. So, TU from Virginia asks, Is it okay for politicians to be two-faced? Is it acceptable for a politician to have a private stance on issues?
Oh boy. And let me tell you, this, as me being a Bernie supporter, this question burned me just, oh man, I was on fire.
Yeah, she had
the most peculiar response.
Yeah, it was like she explained it well, but her answer still stunk.
The logic was just awful.
Oh yeah.
She was basing it off of a movie?
Yeah, well, I mean, a very historically accurate movie. I think she just mentioned the movie so that we could understand it better. She was talking about, what was it? The movie Lincoln, where Abraham Lincoln kind of plays the politics game.
Daniel Day-Lewis movie?
Yeah, yep, he stars in it. He plays Lincoln. It was directed by Steven Spielberg. It was really good. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it. So if you don't like politics, watch it for Joseph Gordon-Levitt, even though he's in it for like 2 minutes. Anywho.
And he's getting political anyway with the Snowden movie. Anyway.
So, like, his sort of political genius, and a lot of people really praise him on this when he was trying to legalize slavery, or abolish slavery.
That's obviously what Lincoln's known for.
For abolishing slavery in the slave states. Not in all states, just the slave states, right?
Yeah.
So what he did was he played the game of politics, giving these people what they want and these people what they want to get them to agree with abolishing slavery. And that's what she was talking about in her answer. Now, obviously, that's a load of baloney. Mm-hmm. And I wrote in one of our articles, I explained... okay, so when Trump was talking about how he pays off politicians, he said that 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road, I'll call them and they're there for me. Now, Clinton is known for receiving money from lobbyists from places like Wells Fargo, CEFCU, or not CEFCU, maybe CEFCU, I don't know, I don't think so.
I don't think
so. A lot of really big Wall Street banks. CEFCU is not a Wall Street bank, excuse me. So, anywho, she talks all the time about how we need more restrictions on the banks and things like that. And so when she says, "Show me proof that I'm being partial to the banks," when all this time I keep giving them a hard time, making things harder on them. Show me proof. Well, when we had the home mortgage crisis in 2008. The Wall Street banks were given $350 billion. Now, that's just to the banks alone. There's other money given to auto industry, and other businesses as well. But that was in 2 waves, and the first wave went mostly to the banks, and they got that money. Nobody was fired. One person was jailed. Now we see Wells Fargo is still participating in a heck of a lot of illegal activity.
Can you give me any specific?
Oh, yeah. Are you not aware? They are opening new accounts for people without asking for them. So somebody can have 17 accounts sometimes up to 30, without asking for them, without signing for them, which is illegal, and that charges money from them. And the management is encouraging people. They have to actually reach quotas to do this, and they kind of keep going up. Anywho, we're getting off topic a little bit. Just to let you know, they're doing a lot of bad stuff. Hillary Clinton was one of the biggest supporters of giving Wall Street this money, the $350 billion of taxpayer dollars. When they need her, they'll call, and she's there for them. So there we go. That's her being two-faced. That's really what she means by having a public stance and a private stance. Anything to add?
No.
Okay, moving on. What specific tax provisions would you change to ensure the wealthiest Americans pay their fair share in taxes? And
Didn't he call out Warren Buffett on that?
Yeah, he was talking about Hillary Clinton's friend who does the same things that Trump does to avoid paying taxes.
Well, not friend, friends.
Yeah.
Plural.
I think Warren Buffett a lot, though.
He specifically named Warren Buffett, and I think Warren Buffett fired back. I'm not sure what he said, though.
Let us be clear on this. Warren Buffett and Hillary Clinton's other friends are not on the ticket either. They're not running for president. Hillary Clinton paid her taxes.
He does that a lot where he targets other people besides Clinton.
Yeah.
And
to make her seem worse. And
the thing is, it's hard to find anything solid against Clinton. She's just so on the fence all the time.
I mean, she's been a politician her whole life, so.
Not her whole life. Well, she was a lawyer.
Yeah, but.
And she mentioned that. I didn't know she did so much outreach for minorities.
Yeah. When she was a lawyer, she probably had the idea to be a politician.
Well, yeah.
The rest of her life. And it's been 30
sure,
years.
Actually.
Either way, she's been a politician
sure as soon as she met Bill,
years.
It came into her mind.
Yeah. But that was in college, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
I thought it was in college.
Well, I'd have to look that up.
For 30 years, she's been a safe politician.
Yeah. I'd definitely say safe being the operative word. Not taking any risks, really.
Yeah. So,
okay, well...
Trump definitely wants to lower taxes on wealthy and big business. He said that outright in the debate.
Yeah, no way to defend it.
Yep.
He did say it was to keep businesses from fleeing overseas, which is understandable from an economic standpoint, but our country is in so much debt that it's kind of suicide.
To call out some of Trump's BS, he has told companies like Ford that if they outsource to Mexico, he'll slap a 35% tariff on them. So that's kind of counterintuitive to what he said, in the debate.
Well, it's a protectionist policy.
Yeah.
He says, I'll treat you well if you're here, and if you run away, I'm going to treat you like a redhead stepchild. I don't know.
Yeah. He basically talked about Reaganomics, trickle-down economics. This time, Hillary wasn't able to come up with a fun, catchy phrase off the top of her head, like trumped-up Reaganomics, whatever it was. Trickle-down economics. So they didn't have that debate again this time. But yeah,
Well, okay, that's something I actually did want to mention. Hillary did a good job in not taking the Trump's bait that much this election. She kept her calm a lot more. Shout out to her, even though I hate her.
Shout out to Hillary Clinton and the ghost of Duncan Ryan. May he rest in peace.
He should be back next time we record. No, the time after that. We're doing one night after this, right?
I guess.
Well, I don't know if we'll post that one. Anyway.
So Hillary Clinton gave a pretty standard progressive, can I say it this time? A very liberal stance.
There we go. I'm fine with her being called a liberal.
Yeah, she's pretending to be a progressive. Don't think she's a progressive. She's lying about being progressive. She is a liberal.
Neoliberal.
Yeah. So, just talked about raising taxes on the wealthy And everybody talks about the middle class. What about the lower class and the working class, you know?
Well, they talk about it. They don't say anything solid about it. They say, I want to help you. I want to help you. I want to help. How? How are you going to help me?
Yeah.
It's like you're talking mostly about the wealthy. You really are. When you're talking solid numbers, you're always talking about the wealthy.
I mean,
I'm going to raise taxes on the wealthy. I'm going to lower taxes on the wealthy. What the hell does that have to do with me? I'm not wealthy.
I mean,
I probably never will be.
I'm okay with them raising taxes on the wealthy. I mean, to me, I look at the middle class and I'm like, wow, you guys are so rich.
Right? Like, whoa, you can afford to buy a house?
You have 3 cars?
And they all work? Whoa.
So, anyway, those were their answers.
Well, I will say, with their schools of thought, what they said, not very surprising.
Yeah. The New York Times... Oh, next question. This is to Trump. The New York Times published 3 pages of your 1995 tax returns. They showed you claimed a $916 million loss, which means you could have avoided paying personal federal income taxes for years. You've said you pay state tax, employee taxes, real estate taxes, property taxes. You have not answered, though, a simple question. Did you use that $916 million loss to avoid paying federal income taxes?
Didn't he say, of course I did?
Later, I think he did.
Yeah.
Early on, he said that he pays taxes, and then later, he said...
That's when he brought up Warren Buffett, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah, well, it's a piece of crap thing to do.
Yeah.
No way to defend that. It's just...
That makes him smart. No, that makes you...
Gaming the system, that's what it is.
That makes you a burden on the rest of us.
Right, and talking about how the people that want free healthcare are a burden. No, they want to live.
Yeah.
You want to game the system. You're the one being greedy.
He absolutely makes enough money to live and pay taxes. So there's no reason why that should have happened. Now, he says all the time that that's because he's a businessman and he does what's in his best interest as a businessman. When he's president, he'll do what's in the country's best interest, which is absolutely false. This whole thing's about him the entire time. He's only been about himself.
You can't prove that for sure. Although I will say, in my experience, people generally do what they know. And he knows how to game the system. He knows how to make money for himself.
Yes. I don't think that he's going to use any of that sort of knowledge or skill, if you can call it that, to get the leg up on Russia or China.
He wants to be buddy-buddy with Russia. And in a way, when it comes to fighting ISIS, Duncan and I agree on that. It makes sense to align ourselves, even if temporarily, to destroying that threat, or at least containing it to the point where they're harmless. We'll talk more about... We probably should do an episode on ISIS and Syria. But, oh my gosh, I just don't really want to learn all that.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, a little bit more about his relationship with China, because he talks all the time about how they have all of our jobs and we need to be doing less or taxing our companies less so that we can have more jobs. Well, the jobs are going into China. They have a bigger divide between rich and poor than we do. So I just want to say real quick that if Trump had his way, the rich would be richer, like him, and the poor would be poorer, like us and our listeners. Probably. I don't know our listeners, but I'm just going to say that. Moving on.
We have listeners?
if you're listening to us, blink twice. Did you blink?
Any other important questions?
The war in Syria.
Hillary, hands down, destroyed Trump in that question.
Oh, yeah. Her answer was so great. Even if we don't really...
Specific groups.
Yeah. I had no idea what she was talking about.
Neither did Trump, I'm sure. But anyway, any more important questions after that?
I do want to say, I made a Facebook post about this. I just wanted to say real quick, with Trump's answer to what would you do in Syria if elected president, he basically just said, well, we need to destroy ISIS. And they're like, no, not ISIS. We're talking about Syria. And he's like, yeah, we need to destroy ISIS.
And I believe he. Oh man, this burned me alive. Said Syria belongs to Russia, basically. I can.
You can't even. You just literally can't even.
I need to get my pumpkin spice and UGG boots because I can't even. All right. I mean,
Trump
I'm
has
about
homework
ready to be.
That was worse than what is Aleppo.
It really was. Anyway, anything else?
Talking about her calling Trump supporters deplorables. That's not important. She asked, they asked Clinton, does Mr. Trump have the discipline to be a good leader?
Okay, we already know where that's going.
Everybody laughed at that one too.
Why exactly did they even ask that? Anyway.
They talked about, let's see, Supreme Court, energy policy, and, at the end, the compliments. So, as far as being Supreme...
The Supreme Court shouldn't be a political thing.
Yeah,
it shouldn't. It's ridiculous that it is. That's all I've got to say about it.
Go ahead and talk about the checks and balances. Just real quick.
Oh, boy. Okay. So, the Supreme Court is a very vital part of our entire law system. Our legislators could be corrupt as can be. Our president could be a complete moron. But as long as our justices stuck to our Constitution, things would probably still stay all right. However, it's been since, I don't know, it doesn't even matter. It's been politicized for so long, choosing Supreme Court justices that'll interpret the Constitution in a specific party's way, that our laws are being skewed this way and that. Look at Citizens United. Our checks and balances are corrupted. And it's just as simple as that.
Okay.
We're screwed. 2016.
Energy policy. Trump brought up what was clean coal, and as a supporter of the Green Party, I cringed and threw up a little bit in my mouth when he was talking about that.
I will say that he was just talking about competition most of the time.
Yeah.
And green energy just isn't competitive yet. I understand where he's coming from.
Very quickly could be if we just invested in it.
I'm sure, but I mean, I don't know, man.
And then the Green Party's platform is to make our country completely green by 2035.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly doable. That's generous amount of time.
All right. Anything else? The compliments. Clinton said, "Your kids are pretty cool," and Trump said, "Well, you don't know when to give up." And that was basically it.
Yeah, the real winner.
Kenneth Bone.
Yes. The fly also. We didn't mention the fly. A fly landed on Hillary's face.
I thought it was on my computer screen. I really did.
And she didn't even acknowledge it. She
right.
just kept, it was in the middle of her talking, and she just kept going. And you may have missed it, but her tongue did sliver out of her mouth, reach up, and grab her eyebrow, and snatched that fly up, and then brought it back to her mouth, and she ate it.
I feel like I need to point out that's actually not true, but anyway, we're gonna wrap up.
I could talk about conspiracy theories.
That's next episode. That's all that's on the mind this week. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Austin.
I'm the ghost of Duncan Ryan, and I'm Bryce.
Good night.